Welcome, Livingstone. It's wonderful to have you here, all the way from Uganda. Livingstone is a businessman, a very successful businessman from Kampala, Uganda. And he has an amazing story to tell. He himself came from a background of a lot of poverty, and so his life has not always been the same as what it is now. And he's not only done very well, but he is also training other people who've come from similar backgrounds to him on how to start their own businesses or how to make their businesses viable. Livingstone, could you tell us a little bit about your story?
Well, thank you for welcoming me. I feel welcome here, and for all the things that have been done to me. In Uganda, probably I will start by saying that if I'm a successful business, I feel tired. But actually, that's the same terminology that we're finding with with the ministry that we're doing about business training. Because success in our particular case is not determined by how many cars you drive, but it's essentially determined by being able to feed your family, send your children to school, and pay the basic medical bills. So in that sense, I call myself successful, not by how much my bank account has some money. But that's the fact that my background, I come from a very poor family. I went to school without shoes. I know what it means to be sent out of school because you can't be able to pay school fees, to go home and there is no food because you can't have enough food to eat. And generally, growing up in that level with a peasant family, and it's by luck and grace that I made it to college and studied to a diploma for marketing, a high diploma in marketing. And had it known the government paid for it, I couldn't even have made it. So with that, what I had to do was to try and look for a job. But even unemployment in Uganda is quite problematic, even when you have employable skills. So my first job, I only got $1 a day, and then probably after 6 months, I only was able to get $2 a day. And even when I had worked hard for the leading dry cleaning company in Uganda, I was only probably worked hard and became the general manager, I still made $6 a day. So it was very early that I realized that probably in marketing, the government can hardly employ you. So because the civil service, maybe you make some money, or you can hardly, but I realized that I'm better off selling my own ideas. And it's that realization that led me to start my own business. And that's when my pastor and the church, when there was need, I got involved into helping others face the same realization that could be one of the things they could be able to do.
That's very interesting. Could you perhaps tell us some of the success stories in doing some of the training?
Well, sometimes you underestimate yourself and you think, but if the Lord is working within you, you could probably do a lot of things you thought you would never able to do. When I set out to get involved in the ministry of helping others, I never knew. But at the moment, we've trained over 1,000 people through the training that we've delivered, and we have seen people's lives changing. You find somebody that was unable to pay for his family, who had a failing business, has been able to rise up and now makes $400 a month. In Uganda, that's a lot of money, because if you take our per capita income, which is in the region of $1,000, if you make $400 a month, you make a lot of money. So these are the stories that I'm listening, I'm hearing. The children that have been able to go to school because their dad are now learning their businesses better. Those are some of the stories. I'll take the case of one gentleman, and his name is George, and he's been able to rise in the space of 3 years. He rose from one market stall to 3 market stalls, bought what we call a motorcycles for rent. And when I left to come to the US this time, he had bought a car. So that is in the space of 3 years. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see this happening. Yes, we do the little part of going and telling them these stories. But again, we still stay with them. They always have a point where they can learn to and ask how to improve their businesses. And it's important to see that someone, one of them, can be able to do this. And we get help. We need help to do this. But it's a powerful story.
Livingstone, that's tremendous. Could you perhaps tell us a little bit how you take people who are in a desperate situation, like, and take them from that place? I believe you have a bit of a you teach them how to do a business plan, and perhaps you can teach them. You can just tell us a little bit how you go about doing this.
Well, we figured out early that the training should have to be replicatable. That the same training that you have delivered here should be delivered the same the next year. So we can't develop materials, workbook and training materials that allow each trainer to deliver the same kind of training. But we also have a platform that we normally use. We normally go for the church poor, because we find that the church is a very good organizing point. Yes, we have delivered trainings into organizations or people into villages, but mostly it's the church poor. They already have a need and they're already stable in their minds, and because they have been well fed with the word. So emotionally they are stable. They just need to be educated to be able to start a new life, and they have faith in God, and that's important for them. So we work from that point, getting people to explain them in terms of things their normal lives. It isn't easy to teach somebody break-even point, fixed costs and variable costs. But once you tell him that if you rent and every month you know how much cost you pay, it's fixed cost, they will understand it. And in most cases, we found that these are smart business people.
Really? So you find surprises amongst the people?
Yes, and I learn from them.
And you learn from
I
them?
do learn from them. There is a case in point of a lady who came to me who had 3 small businesses. Now, these words are used interchangeably, micro and small, but we speaking about businesses sometimes with a lower than $1,000 capitalization. Mm. But it happened that when we taught them to separate business from your self-pocket, but that also involves separating businesses. If you have a market store and you have a dairy store, you have to keep them apart. So that, when she learned that, she went home and did the calculation. She found that one business was eating from the others, and she closed it. Now I would call that a success, because she's no longer losing money by thinking that she's rich by owning 3 businesses, when in actual sense it's only 2 that are making the money. So those are the stories that keep us going.
Now you're talking about materials